You are in a place where the sky seems closer than the earth. The space feels quiet and sacred, as if it belongs to something beyond human reach. Welcome to Tibet, where wild nature not only gives birth to life, but also guides everything that unfolds. Across the vast plateau, rock, cold wind, and light combine to form a world set apart, almost like a separate planet resting upon the back of Earth. Before you, brown-gray grasslands stretch without end, while distant snow peaks stand still with solemn presence, like silent guardians of the horizon. For thousands of years, a system of belief has anchored itself to mountains, wind, and sky. Ancient monasteries rise within open space. Prayer wheels turn slowly in the rhythm of the plateau wind. Along steep slopes, old palaces remain, marking a kind of authority that does not need to speak. Tibet does not display itself openly. It keeps its distance and reveals itself only when you bring patience, resolve, and respect for its silence. Looking down upon this land, you realize that nature sometimes chooses to move in parallel rather than merge into one. Three great rivers run side by side, keeping a measured distance while enduring together for millions of years. The Three Parallel Rivers region lies along the southeastern edge of the Tibetan Plateau, where three major Asian rivers, the Yangtze, the Mekong, and the Salween, flow close to one another through deep mountain terrain. Each river carves its own channel through rock, maintaining distinct color and rhythm. Mountain ranges stack in multiple layers, forming narrow corridors that guide the waters southward. Vegetation shifts with altitude, from dense humid forest to bands of cold, resistant shrub. The rivers remain parallel without converging, yet together they create one of Tibet's most remarkable landscapes. High along the rocky slopes, you may sense the presence of one of the rarest animals on Earth, the snow leopard. Elusive and solitary, it is regarded in local legend as the spirit of the mountains. From a single vantage point, you see snow and ice standing still like a vow, while the river surges forward like a command. Yarlong Tsangpo Grand Canyon brings these opposing rhythms into one immense incision, revealing contrast within continuity. The canyon lies in southeastern Tibet, where the Yarlong Tsangpo River bends around Namcha Barwa, forming one of the deepest gorges on Earth. It was shaped through geological processes spanning millions of years. As the Tibetan Plateau rose due to tectonic collision, the Yarlong Tsangpo maintained its original course, cutting through mountains that were still ascending. Significant elevation differences intensified erosion, allowing the river to carve into rock with relentless force. Upstream, the river flows narrow and rapid, while downstream it gradually widens according to terrain. Amid surrounding plateaus that appear level and calm, the canyon compresses space vertically, giving the impression that the earth itself is being drawn downward. Yarlong Tsangpo Grand Canyon exposes the severity of time, showing how water can divide even the most imposing mountains. There is subtle elegance within that severity. Water and time do not require spectacle, only persistence. In that moment, you find yourself more respectful toward what once seemed impossible. When the plateau dawn touches white walls, the light seems carefully refined. Wind moves slowly through stone-paved streets, as if careful not to disturb the quiet. Welcome to Lhasa, the spiritual and historical center of Tibet. The city stands at an elevation of about 3,600 meters in the Lhasa River Valley. Sheltered from harsh wind and close to water, it has remained a durable settlement for centuries. Lhasa developed around ancient monasteries, where religious authority intertwined closely with community life. Flat rooftops layer upon one another, and thick white walls absorb sunlight and reflect it back, with a glow unique to the city. The air carries the scent of yak butter and incense smoke, blending with steady footsteps on stone and reminding you that life here moves at an unhurried pace. Traditional trade unfolds along pedestrian routes, linking monks, merchants, and pilgrims within the same flowing movement. Lhasa reflects the resilience of Tibetan identity, enduring through many shifts in history. The city does not attempt to overwhelm. Here, sacredness is not performance, but a graceful habit of daily life. The slower you walk, the clearer Lhasa becomes. When you leave, it is the rhythm of its breath that remains with you most vividly. Leaving the center of Lhasa, you follow a rising road toward Potala Palace, the red and white structure clinging to the mountainside like a declaration carved in stone. The palace was built in the 17th century under the 5th Dalai Lama, upon the foundations of an earlier structure that had stood there for centuries. Inside narrow corridors, dim chanting halls, and golden stupas create a sacred space that feels enclosed and inward-looking. Its monumental exterior contrasts with the restrained interior, and that tension makes Potala feel both intimate and distant at once. Through wars and upheavals, Potala did not expand beyond measure, nor did it retreat from history. The presence of Potala Palace is inseparable from the periods that shaped Tibetan power and identity. The palace does not chase time, because time itself seems to move around it. A structure that compels both people and history to adjust their pace is perhaps the most refined form of authority Potala possesses. Nyingchi region lies in southeastern Tibet, where monsoon winds from the Indian Ocean cross the mountains and bring the highest rainfall in the entire area. Because of this, the landscape turns in a different direction, separating itself from the familiar dryness and cold of the Tibetan Plateau. You see deep green valleys unfolding, and rivers bending softly through them like slow strokes of a brush. Community life in Nyingchi is closely tied to forest and water. Villages often rest along low valleys where the soil is moist and suitable for cultivation. Residents grow barley, corn, and vegetables on small riverside fields. Forest wood is used to build homes, craft tools, and provide fuel for warmth. In local belief, the forest serves as protection, while the river symbolizes nourishment, forming a lasting bond between people and nature. Nyingchi reveals a subtle truth. Tibet is not defined only by harshness, but also by a gentleness of its own. Sometimes luxury is simply the ability to breathe a little more easily in a world that rarely offers comfort. Leaving the center of Nyingchi, you follow the river until you reach a mountain rising in full command of the Tibetan sky, Namcha Barwa Peak. It is one of the highest and steepest summits in the region, standing like a climatic wall between the dry plateau and the humid monsoon lands. Its slopes rise sharply, dark rock and white snow layered together in a stark contrast that lingers in your memory. Thick clouds cling to the mountain's body, sliding upward and gathering again, as if Namcha Barwa Peak insists on keeping the sky close. Below, subtropical forests blanket the valleys. Light shifts quickly here, altering the tones of stone and forest within a single afternoon. Namcha Barwa Peak holds a sacred place in Tibetan spiritual life. Legends say the summit conceals a power difficult to approach, revealing its path only to pilgrims who are quiet and resolute enough. In Tibetan Buddhism, walking around the mountain's base is considered an act of purification and the accumulation of merit. Small monasteries rest along the slopes, guiding rituals and preserving religious teachings. For this reason, local culture places Namcha Barwa in deep reverence, linking the mountain with both faith and daily life. You will sense a rare kind of authority here. It does not need to conquer anyone. It simply stands, and everything else adjusts in response. Clouds cling to its ridges like a vow, and forests embrace its base like a ritual. Leaving Namcha Barwa Peak, you follow the river downward as the altitude gently falls. Colors shift quickly. Moisture returns to the air. Peach Blossom Valley appears, soft and quietly captivating. The valley lies near Nyingchi, stretching along warm river branches descending from the high mountains. When spring arrives, wild peach trees bloom across the valley, pale pink blossoms spreading wide and transforming the entire landscape. Sunlight filters through thin mist, softening the color of the petals, while the deep green forest forms a perfect backdrop for the blossoms to unfold. Spring wind carries a delicate floral scent, drifting through the air like a discreet invitation. As you walk among the flowering trees, it is easy to feel as though you have stepped into a world found only in Tibet. Local residents regard the peach blossom season as a sign of harmony between water and earth. Families open their doors to visitors, clear footpaths, and tend the edges of their fields together. People stroll beneath the blossoms, sharing food and stories of the coming harvest. Community culture here centers on gathering, with nature placed firmly at the heart of daily life. There is something here that makes you smile inwardly. After so much stone and wind, this valley does not argue for its beauty. You walk among fragrant pink blossoms and realize that refinement can be gentle, and that true elegance sometimes speaks in a softer voice. There are places so deeply silent that you might mistake them for emptiness. Yet it is precisely that stillness that carries your emotions far beyond the surface. Basamso Lake exists in that way. The lake lies in southeastern Tibet near Nyingchi, within a rare belt of humid forest on the plateau. Its waters are fed by glacial melt and mountain rain, which keep both clarity and cold remarkably steady throughout the year. The surface is a deep blue, smooth and restrained, as though it refuses to reveal itself too easily. Pine and cypress forests embrace the shoreline, their dark trunks standing close together, quietly guarding the water's color. Light filters through thin cloud layers and shifts the lake's hue with slow patience. At Basamso Lake, water seems to regulate the entire landscape. The lake holds a special place in the spiritual life of the Nyingchi region. It is regarded as a gathering point of sacred energy between forest and high mountains. Local records note that the area once served as a resting place for ancient pilgrimage groups before they continued along deeper valleys. In local belief, the lake's reflection of mountains and trees is seen as a sacred mirror, reminding people to keep their hearts clear and luminous. For this reason, Basamso Lake is woven into communal memory, where history and faith merge within a quiet landscape. Some mirrors invite you to adjust your appearance. Others ask you to adjust your spirit. Basamso belongs to the latter, and that is a refinement of the most delicate kind. You leave the forest, you leave the water. Ahead of you, only bare earth and stone remain. Zanda County unfolds dry and exposed, a decisive shift in scenery after Basamso Lake. Located in southwestern Tibet, Zanda County sits on a windswept plateau, far removed from the humid forest belts of Nyingchi. The region is known for its ancient eroded landforms, where water is scarce and sunlight falls with relentless intensity. Clay valleys are hollowed by wind, and rare rainfall into sharp ridges and fragile spires. The dominant tones are ochre brown and ash gray. Deep ravines carve through the plateau, giving the impression that the land has been emptied from within. At dusk, Alsi's light stretches long shadows across the slopes, and the landscape takes on a surreal quality, as though you are looking at the bones of the earth. Zanda County holds a cold, arid ecosystem where rock and soil prevail, and only sparse patches of low vegetation appear across the terrain. Tibetan antelope occasionally emerge on elevated plains, moving in small groups along familiar trails etched into the dry ground. Zanda County reveals the raw and austere face of Tibet. Its harshness establishes a strict order of survival, where every sign of life stands visible, without excess, without ornament, and without apology. Here, beauty does not arise from comfort, but from candor. And within that vast emptiness, your mind feels fuller, like a room swept clean, so that every thought can resonate with greater clarity. On the arid plateau of western Tibet, Guge rests upon eroded earthen cliffs, like a pause held against the wind. No human presence, no echo of noise, only silent ruins gazing down toward Kyunglung Valley, where life continues below. The remains stretch along the hillside, with palaces and monasteries carved directly into earth and rock, as if the entire kingdom once lived within the mountain itself. Narrow stairways lead upward through empty chambers where wind moves freely. Cracked earthen walls blend into the dry landscape. The Guge Kingdom emerged in the 10th century and became a significant political and religious center of the Himalayan region. It prospered by controlling trade routes and by supporting the spread of Buddhism. From the heights, you can still see cultivated fields and homes lining the river in Kyunglung Valley, a rhythm of life that refuses to stop. The contrast stands plainly before you. One side once commanded power, the other quietly sustains continuity. Guge once shaped the fate of an entire region. Now it stands outside modern motion, a lasting emblem of Tibet's ancient authority. What unsettles you is the elegance of its collapse, because power here has nothing left to prove. You come to see ruins, yet you encounter something else, the dignity of time when it no longer needs to defeat anyone. From the gate of Guge, a narrow path leads you gradually downward. The dry remnants of the ruined kingdom recede behind you. Tholing Monastery appears in the heart of the valley, where traces of power give way to the enduring rhythm of faith. Founded in the 10th century, Tholing was closely linked to the Guge dynasty and the revival of Tibetan Buddhism. It became a major center of learning, drawing scholars from India and Kashmir. The monastery complex sits low in the valley, with thick earthen walls that retain warmth against the harsh climate. Prayer halls connect through small courtyards, their ceilings low and doorways narrow. Inside, faded murals still narrate teachings and the figures who once supported them. Light slips through narrow openings, touching the earthen floor before gliding across the aged paintings. When you step out into the courtyard and look back toward Guge, history reveals itself in another form. It lingers on the cliffs, in abandoned chambers, and along broken stairways rising upward. Perhaps what makes Tholing unforgettable is its humility. You watch light pass through a narrow doorway and realize that what is most sacred is not what shines brightest, but what endures after every collapse. Like Tholing Monastery, Zizhu Monastery does not seek attention, yet it makes you wonder why you have chosen to pause here. The monastery stands on a mountainside east of Lhasa and has been linked to Tibetan Buddhist traditions for centuries. Ancient records indicate that it once served as a place of practice for several different lineages. Shrine halls cling closely to the rocky slope, with thick earthen walls and low roofs. Narrow passageways guide you from one courtyard to another, gently slowing your pace. From a distance, Zizhu Monastery nearly dissolves into the mountain, in contrast to larger monasteries situated along major pilgrimage routes. Local legend says the site was chosen for its capacity to preserve silence, keeping distance from the strong currents of politics and trade. Through historical upheavals, Zizhu Monastery neither expanded nor disappeared. Its quiet endurance reveals that devotion can matter more than displays of power, and more than the urge to enlarge physical space. There is a particular refinement in what does not display itself. Some places invite you to lift your head in admiration. Zizhu Monastery asks you to lower it slightly, in reverence. You continue forward, and the road keeps unfolding, climbing higher and stretching farther into distance. China National Highway 318 draws Tibet closer through an unbroken line of movement. This national route links the eastern plains of China with the Tibetan Plateau. Beginning in Shanghai, China National Highway 318 crosses Sichuan before entering the harsh terrain of high mountains. In the 20th century, the road was upgraded and expanded. Many sections were rebuilt after major earthquakes and landslides, marking determined efforts to connect communities separated by formidable geography. Wheels roll steadily across passes, bridges, and long ascents. Each curve lifts you toward a new elevation. Rugged mountain slopes layer one behind another. Sparse forest appears briefly, then gradually yields to high grassland. Low clouds drift across the roadway, obscuring and revealing the view within minutes, as if testing your patience. Highway 318 feels direct and expansive, and the sense of adventure comes from how openly the landscape presents itself. Along this route, Tibet ceases to be a distant idea and emerges gradually with every turn of the wheel. China National Highway 318 carries memories of travel, labor, and the desire of generations to overcome geographic limits. A broad road is not built only for speed. It symbolizes the will to reach new heights and to accept every fracture carved into the mountains. If you trust your driving skills, you may test yourself at the 72 turns of Nujiang River. This stretch of road is tied to the arduous history of route building in the mountains of southwestern China. It lies in northwestern Yunnan province, formed when engineers sought to connect isolated valleys along the Nujiang River, where once only footpaths and mule caravans existed. The road bends in relentless succession, cliffs pressing close to the wheels, while below the Nujiang River roars and surges through the gorge. 72 curves follow one another, making this one of the steepest and most winding mountain sections near the Tibetan frontier. Each turn shifts direction and perspective, and the continuous sequence across hazardous terrain demands complete focus on steering and throttle. In several stretches, low clouds drift across the roadway, revealing and concealing the landscape within moments, intensifying the challenge. Over time, the 72 turns of Nujiang River has become a symbol of resilience and human adaptability in the face of formidable geography. A chain of steep curves can strain your nerves, yet it can also sharpen your awareness more than any lesson delivered in comfort. Leaving behind the sharp bends along the cliffs, the journey slows as white salt terraces come into view on the slope. Yanjing ancient salt fields in Markham are located in eastern Tibet, within the Langkang River Valley, where saline springs rise from beneath the mountains. This ancient salt field system has been maintained for centuries, and even today production relies entirely on human labor. The salt pans stack in tiers like frozen waves, their surfaces shimmering under the plateau sun. Brine flows through dark wooden channels, then leaves pale traces as it dries in the wind. Behind them, dark rock mountains form a muted backdrop that makes the white salt stand out in sharp contrast. Harvesting follows the rhythm of seasons and sunlight. Residents guide brine into shallow drying pans and allow wind and sun to complete the process. When salt crystals form, they move carefully along narrow earthen edges, using hands and wooden tools to gather each thin layer. The work demands patience and precise timing. Too early and the salt remains wet. Too late and the crystals crumble. Such knowledge passes through generations, binding labor to a deep understanding of weather and valley terrain. As you watch the white terraces glitter, you begin to understand that true wealth is not always what is stored, but what human hands are able to create. Changtang Plateau stretches across northern Tibet, where high altitude and a cold, arid climate govern every movement. It is one of the highest and driest plateaus in Asia, defined by severe conditions and extremely low population density. The elevation and remoteness preserve a rare sense of wilderness that remains largely untouched. Before you, the plateau unfolds in vast brown-gray grasslands extending beneath an immense sky. Scattered pale blue salt lakes lie flat and cold, their shores exposed without trees for shelter. Community life on Changtang Plateau follows the seasonal rhythm of livestock herds and the brief cycle of short grasses. Nomadic families set up temporary tents on elevated ground and then relocate according to water sources and prevailing winds. Daily life is simple and focused on herding, repairing tents, and guarding animals at night. When snowstorms or predators appear, families support one another. Changtang reflects a way of living closely aligned with nature, emphasizing endurance and communal order. On Changtang, everything is reduced to essentials, and whatever remains carries meaning. Each year, when the ice has melted just enough and the wind shifts direction, the plateau begins to move with urgency through the Tibetan antelope migration. Tibetan antelope undertake one of the highest altitude migrations on the planet, crossing the plateau at an average elevation of more than 4,000 meters. They leave familiar grazing grounds and travel hundreds of kilometers under severe conditions to reach safer calving areas. This journey sustains the reproductive cycle of the species and distributes grazing pressure across fragile grasslands. Each animal follows migration routes passed down through generations, tracking fresh grass and temporary water sources that exist only for short periods. Be careful. When they arrive at the calving grounds, movement slows and large herds divide into smaller groups. Breeding and birth take place within a brief and carefully timed window. Along their route, Tibetan wolves remain present. They trail from a distance, selecting weaker or isolated individuals to pursue. This constant pressure keeps the herd alert, encouraging tight formation and steady pace to minimize loss. There are no trumpets and no ceremony, only a schedule written by wind and ice. The migration is not a display of force, but a refinement of instinct, knowing when to move and knowing precisely where to pause. Amid the wind-swept plateau, Namtso Lake slows your thoughts with each ripple, and you begin to sense that stillness carries its own weight. Situated at an elevation of more than 4,700 meters on the Tibetan Plateau, Namtso is one of the largest and highest salt lakes in the region. Its surface is broad and level, shaded in deep blue, stretching toward the horizon as if gently held in place. In Tibetan spiritual life, Namtso Lake holds profound sacred significance. The lake is associated with seasonal rituals that mark moments of prayer for peace and gratitude for water and sky. Pilgrims regard the dark blue surface as a mirror of consciousness. They believe that walking around the lake can cleanse sorrow and accumulate merit. For local communities, Namtso represents a balance between nature, belief, and inner life. Namtso Lake does not promise miracles, yet it quiets the noise within you. Let the wind, the deep blue water, and the refined silence reshape your spirit. Tibet does not need grand or dazzling stories. because this land guides you through sacred stillness and allows time to shape its own meaning. When you leave, a quiet resonance remains, as if you have touched a rare sacred space on Earth. If this journey inspires you to explore lands beyond the rhythm of the familiar, subscribe to our channel and continue traveling with us. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next journey.